Porsha Williams is once again, y'all, in the headlines. And in the headlines, she will stay. Because Porsha Williams, I tell you, is the one to always watch, okay? Porsha Williams had her a good time at BravoCon in Vegas. And y'all, she did her thing. She posed with the castmates. She had her amazing smile on. She had her amazing wardrobe together, and she did her thing. She had an amazing experience. And so, when you know, on her way back, on her flight from Las Vegas to Atlanta, in first class, mind you, okay? In first class. And y'all, these days, you don't know who is going to even be in first class, okay? Because you would think that in first class, you would have some civility. You would have some dignity. You would have some poise. You would think in first class there would be people who were not trying to confront you over anything, because look, after all, honey, didn't you make it to first class? What you so upset about? Okay? And that is what I mean concerning this passenger in first class that I would say confronted Porsha. Okay? Now, y'all, look, we know Porsha's history. We know how she has behaved on Real Housewives of Atlanta. We know how she has just got up and started, you know what, with people. We know how she did Kenya Moore, and that for me, that was just a little too much, okay? We know how she did the other person that, Carlos King had to pull her off of. Y'all know it. Y'all know the story, and in no way is this trying to excuse her for any of that, because no, she needed to have been reprimanded for those things she did, especially for what she did to Kenya Moore, okay? So we know that. Y'all, this time, Porsha was not wrong, okay? This time I would say it because, not only did she tell us the story of what happened, y'all, the reporters were waiting for her when she got off the flight, and she told the story of what happened. In addition to, y'all, she had witnesses. Porsha had witnesses about what happened, okay? So here's what had happened, okay? Porsha on her first class flight, minding her own business, y'all, going through her IG on her phone, minding her own business. All of a sudden, here's this intrusive voice. Oh, you're going to make me listen to that all the way, or something to that she said. Am I going to have, no, you're going to make me listen to that. First of all, look, nobody can make you do anything, lady, okay? Second, there was a better way to say that, and I don't know about you all, but it's something to someone trying to talk to another person in such a disrespectful way that it just bothers me. That was so disrespectful. And look, y'all, that is the sentiment in which Porsha responded. She said, respectfully, she said, what, do you want to listen to it? In that voice, do you want to? Because, at this point, Porsha didn't know where this lady was coming from. To say something like that, the way she said it, if you really didn't want to hear her phone, there was a way to say that politely, respectfully, with some dignity. I mean, girl, lady, you're in first class. Can't you act like it? Can't you act like you got some class? You're in first class. So Porsha said, do you want to? In that regard. And so I guess when the lady responded no or what have you, then Porsha says, and I'm sure she said it in a way, that may or may not have been, but she says, well, there was a better way you could have said that. And she is absolutely right, y'all. In this case, she is absolutely right. There was a better way for this lady to approach her. And you know what? My thing is, why in first class are you sitting right next to someone you clearly are trying to start something with? And, if that was the case, why didn't you ask for a seat change? And I mean, I'm not getting it, because to me, my idea of first class would be I got a seat all by myself. Now, y'all, that's me. Yeah, I know about first class. Yes, I've seen first class. My idea of first class would be that, look, I got a seat all to myself and nobody is sitting next to me to bother me. Okay? That's the way I look at it. First class seats, with as much as those first class seats are, everyone in first class should have their own seat. So, okay, that's another thing. So you're sitting next to this lady, and that's the way you address her. How about this? She has to sit next to a person that is combative like that for the entire flight. How about that? Because look, this lady didn't say anything to you. Porsha Williams did not say anything to this lady. She was on her phone. But what happened? Okay, this lady wanted some attention. Now, who knows whether or not she knew Porsha, okay? But that is one of my opinions, is that she may have known Porsha and she's trying to get her attention. She's trying to, that T word we use rhymes with the store, T, get her, you know what I'm saying? Or not necessarily knowing who she was as far as a celebrity, but then seeing who she is as far as this beautiful, woman on this first class flight doing her own thing, and this lady felt some kind of way about it. It's all sorts of things, because in the first place, what is that she had no right to approach Porsha Williams like that, okay? And so now, speaking of the witnesses, yes, Porsha Williams was off the flight giving her statement, and these two witnesses came up and they said that lady was wrong. They saw everything that happened, and I said, oh yes, we now have some witnesses. And y'all, I knew even before they came out, the way Porsha had explained it, and that lady approached her, said something to her first. This lady didn't even, okay, we'll go there another time. But anyway, said something to her first. So these witnesses, they corroborated what Porsha said, and especially they put light on the lady and the lady's untruth about talking about what Porsha did to her phone. That is not true. Now, she said Porsha put her finger first all up close on her face, and then, okay, so now how she, first of all, she said she put her finger, and then not, come on now, which was it? Did she put her finger in your face? Did she knock your phone out your hand at the same time? Anyway, the witnesses said no, that did not happen, that Porsha was not doing anything to this lady. So, there you have it. We wanted to bring that point out because we know Porsha can, get herself into some entanglements. We know, we've seen her emotional upsets. But y'all, in this case, I think Porsha Williams was all the way right on this. Now, y'all, some of y'all gonna fall out and say, what? Yes, I think Porsha Williams was all the way right on this, because that lady's behavior was inexcusable. There is a way to talk to people, whether you know them or not. There is a way. But some people, they think they can just say anything, any kind of way to anybody they want. And this is a day and age that, no, y'all better check that. So, you know what? Porsha Williams has been cleared. That's right, by the investigation. She has been cleared